We all talk about human nature, don't we? Human nature. We talk about human nature. Human nature is Adamic nature. It specifies pride. It specifies greed, selfishness, all of these little things that we take. You know, as I studied psychology in college, Marilyn dropped her Bible. As I studied psychology in college, we talked about maturing. When a child is born into this world, they're not thinking about anything but themselves. They don't think about anything but themselves. And a child grows up and maybe it has brothers and sisters, so it starts thinking about brother and sister if they're not fighting. And they come to the point where they are attracted and they have affection for their brothers and sisters and their mother and father. This is where they have the first knowledge of affection and love, is the family. And then as they grow up a little older, then they have friends. Philo is a Greek word, friend, philo, phile, philos. And they have affection for their friends, and they will do things for their friends, sacrificially do things for their family. And they'll sacrificially do things for their friends. And as you grow up, you expand your sphere of love like that. But some people in the world never get beyond the baby stage. They see nothing but their own. They can't see, they can't love beyond the end of their nose. And that's what we call a narcissistic, selfish person. And that is a real bad stage of the Adamic nature. So let's go on and look at human nature here as we go. We're going to read this from the Amplified again and go on a little bit further. Verse number 42. And get back there. Human nature. These pages don't want to come apart. Calling them to himself, Jesus said to them, "You know that those who are recognized as rulers of the Gentiles lord it over you, lord it over them. And their powerful men exercise authority over them, tyrannizing them." Powerful men. We see this in government, don't we? We see people like in government positions, what we call nepotism. I've seen this in churches. I've seen it in businesses. I've seen it in corporations. I've seen this in families, basically. It is where you reward someone in your family because you love them and you want them to succeed, so you will give them an opportunity where you won't give others opportunities. That's what you call nepotism. We see that in presidents of the United States sometimes, very prevalent today. We see that in businesses. I remember one time I was acquainted with a man that worked so hard. He worked so hard. And he had a son that he wanted to just give the business to. One of these days he would be his. But the boy was a playboy. He had a real good time all the time. And just, he wanted to do what he wanted to do. He took no interest in really the business at all. Whatever he wanted to do, he did it because he liked it. He liked it. And that facet of it was his hobby. But when it come down to doing all the hard work, he wasn't interested in any of that at all. You see that in businesses of all sorts. You see that in what we call representatives and senators. Now this is illegal in that area. You know that, don't you? That's illegal to do that as a senator. It's illegal to do that as a representative or a senator, as a president. It's illegal for you to choose somebody in your family to do a job that they're not qualified to do and give them a high wage, or open the door for them so they can do this job. That's nepotism. It's the Adamic nature. That's Adamic. The Adamic nature. Kakos is the Greek word for it. It's bad. And when this happens in jobs or whatever else, they look upon it and they look down upon the person that does that. You can be in a very big place, you can open doors for somebody and they go in there and they will be chosen above everybody else, and they are so lazy they don't want to do it. They throw the chances away which somebody else would give their life for almost. Throw it away. So we're going to be dealing with the Adamic nature here just a little bit. Hearing this, the other 10 became indignant, and James and John, calling them to himself, Jesus said to them, you know that those who are recognized as rulers over the Gentiles lord it over them. And they're powerful men. And we talked about this, Herod's sons, Anthony and Cleopatra. You find out a lot of times, like Anthony and Cleopatra, their children were done away with, basically. You know, when a king went in and conquered an area, they killed all of the family. So there would be no nepotism. There would be nobody left there. They killed them all. That's what happens in the nepotistic world here. But this is not how it is among you. Instead, whoever wishes to become great among you must be your servant. And whoever wishes to be first among and most important among you must be slave of all. Who wants that? Who wants to hand that on to your child? Become a slave. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. Now let's go back and look at some more of this, starting with verse number 42. From the Greek, from the original language, not a translation now, this is it. This is the real deal. A genuine article. Kai proskalomenos, autus ho Jesus, lege autois oidate, hote hoi decontes, arcane, ton, ethnon, kata kurios sin, auton, kai hoi megaloi, auton, kata sus siusen, auton. I've got to get another pair of glasses. I can't read anymore like I did before. Kai, conjunction, page 208, Analytical Greek Lexicon. That says that this sentence is actually part of the other sentence. Then we have proskalomenos. Nominative, singular, masculine. First aorist participle, middle voice. And having called to them for himself by his own volition, for himself, them, accusative, plural, masculine, third person pronoun, the Jesus. The Jesus, see, there's a ho Jesus there, that's the subject. Ho Jesus, nominative, singular, masculine. Jesus, nominative, singular, masculine. Now, I'm just going to give you I'm just going to decline one element here in the Greek language, only in the singular, not in the plural. Nominative, singular, nominative, genitive, occupative, locative, instrumental, dative, accusative, and vocative. Those are the 8 cases of the nouns in Greek. Nominative is the case of subject, genitive is the case of possession, operative is where it comes from, the origin. Locative is it's in the house. Locative. Instrumental is with, by, or for. Okay, and dative, two or four, for the good of two or for someone. And then we have nominative, genitive, nominative, genitive, ablative, locative, instrumental, dative, and then we have the accusative. The accusative is the object. The object. That's you're being done something to you. That's accusative case. And the vocative is a case of address. Teacher, didaskale. Rabbi, whatever. That's in the vocative. Even the names were in the vocative also. That's a case of address. You're addressing them. And the Jesus, he says, third person singular, present indicative active, he says, and keeps on saying to them. He said, this is a longer discourse here, because this is a present indicative active. He says this and keeps on saying this to them, dative, plural, third person pronoun. Oidate. I want you to fully understand something. That second person plural, second perfect indicative active. I want you to have understood this. I want you to have understood what I'm about to say to you. I want you to see with your mind's eye, oida. That, or because, there's a little conjunction there, hote. That or because the ones thinking. That means to think, to appeal, or imagine. The ones imagining, thinking, to be first ruler, arcane, comes from arco, as present infinitive active, to be a ruler of the nations. The ones that seem to be or appear to be ruler of the nations, the Gentiles, to lord or have dominion over, to bring under authority, kata kyrio usa. Kyrios means that means lord. Kata kyrios, it means the down lord. Literally, the lord over. To bring under your authority or power of them, genitive, plural, masculine, third person pronoun. Then we have a conjunction there again, or you can put it as also a cumulative particle, page 208. It can be and or also, or even but at sometimes. And or also the ones megaloi, the ones great, the ones dictators, potentates, the great ones among them. The megaloi, dictators, potentates, belonging to them, they bring under authority, they kata usial usen. Comes from kata and usiazo. They brings under great authority them. They have authority over them. They have complete control over them. Verse number 43. Uk, hutos, de, estin, and himen, all hos on, thele, megas, geneste, en himen, este, himen, dikaionos. Uk, adverb of negation. Not in this same manner, this hutos, not in this same manner, that's a little adverb. Weakened verse conjunction. Moreover, not in this same manner, it is. It keeps on being. That word estin there, that's third person singular present indicative active, comes from ami. In, or among, that little preposition, our word in comes right out of that. Look it up on page 137. Among you all. Among you all. That's locative, plural, second person pronoun. But, strong adversative conjunction, hosan, whosoever. Now here we have that word on again. That is a conditional particle, and it is ruled by thele. there, tele, it has a little iota subscript under the eta there at the end, tele. That's third person singular present subjunctive active. Whoever may wish, he may wish. Great, important, noble. That's a comparative. To become. Second aorist, infinitive, middle voice. To become for himself. Among, that little preposition again there. Among you all. He shall become for himself of you all a diakonos, diakonos. Diakonos literally means to kick up dust. It means to wait on tables. It means to be a slave. It means to be a hired out servant. I talked to a man, a good friend of mine here a while back, and one of his sons had chosen to work in a line of work that he would be working for somebody else. He'd be getting a pension and all of that. But he would not do what his father had done. His father had become very wealthy, working hard and gaining property and all this, and he wanted his son to do that. He wanted his son to carry on his footsteps, but his son chose a menial job because that's what he wanted to do. And he said he'll never get anywhere that way. He'll never get high that way. He'll never become great that way. But that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to do that job. He wanted to be a doulos. He wanted to be a servant for somebody else. He didn't want to be the boss. He wanted to be a servant. And a lot of people in life, they are happy being servants. They're happy working for other people. Not everybody can be a boss and own a business. There's those workers out there also. Then in verse 44, Kai, hosan, delay, en, himen, ene, protos, este, panton, doulos. Kai, conjunction, tying this sentence to the last sentence. Whosoever may, whosoever. Again, we have host, that's a nominative, singular, masculine. That's a relative pronoun. He may wish. That on there as the third class conditional particle. He may wish. That word tele, look at that word tele there. Again, under the eta there is the iota subscript. And that iota subscript is a sign that it comes from, to tell you that is in the subjunctive mode. Third person singular, present, subjunctive, active. Whoever he may wish. He may wish among you, or among you, that's preposition there, page 137. And that is locative plural, second person pronoun, him in, among you all, to be first, protos. Protos. First. He shall be of all a servant, a bondslave. That word comes from deo. That word doulos comes from deo, delta, epsilon, omega, and that means to bind or to tie. An enslaved or captured one. An enslaved or captured one. He shall be an enslaved or captured one. There's not many people in our churches that will do this. There aren't very many people in our churches that do this. But the ones that do this shall be great. I remember throughout my life, I remember quiet individuals that gave and supported the churches. Quiet individuals. They never wanted to get up in front of anybody. They'll have a question every now and then. They'd love for you to take time to answer the questions. That's what they You know, they are servants. They have a servant's mind. They're there. They're always there. They're faithful. They're on time always. And they're always ready to help somebody. Or some way they could just go clean the church house if it needs. They're always ready to help put up the chairs or put out the tables or cook food and take it to somebody. This is the servant type of person. And they're there always. And they don't want to be up there in front. If they're up there in front, it's because they're leaders in service. Leaders in service. Up in front, being a leader in service. Not wanting to be there in front, just doing the job. They're there to do the job. Verse 45 now. Kai, gar ho huios, tu anthropu, uk elthane, diakones thene, Allah, diakonese, kai, dine, tain, psychain, auto, litron, ante, polon. And this is our last verse for this message. Kai. Now here we have a cumulative particle, page 208. For even, or but, if you want to put there a strong adversive conjunction, for, but, or even, or also, ho, huios, the sun, the air, the air. Nominative singular masculine, definite article, and sun, that means the air. The air of the mankind. Genesis 3:15, where every time you go back, just go back to Genesis 3:15, because it's talking about the son of woman, the son of mankind, the son of the human race. Not, adverb of negation, 294. Not he came, Elthane, that comes from Erchemai there. Third person singular, second aorist, indicative, active. Not he came to be served. Diakonestene. First aorist, infinitive, active. Not he came to be served. That comes from diakonio. But, strong adversative conjunction, page 15. To serve. First aorist, infinitive, active. To serve. To be a slave. And to give. Second aorist, infinitive, active. To give. That comes from didomi. The life. His soul, his entire being. That word psyche there, that means your whole being. Now, your soul and your spirit are closely related. The spirit is what is life in you. That's what keeps you breathing and everything. When the spirit leaves you, you're gone, it's gone. And when the spirit's gone, the soul goes with it. But the body stays there. Now, Jesus is looking about his entire entity. Jesus, the Son of Man, came to give his whole entire soul, life, body of him, litron. That word litron there means a price paid. It comes from Leo. A price paid, it is a ransom. Long time ago, there was a very famous man, a flyer, and his son was kidnapped. His son was kidnapped. And they wanted a big ransom for it, for that son. But somehow or another, the little boy got killed. And the ransom money was no good. The ransom money is no good unless you have life. A ransom is no good unless you have life. And at litron ante pelon. Now the ransom money that Jesus Christ gives us eternal life forever. You can save a person once. I remember when Audie Murphy, he wrote a book